Some might say this comes awfully close to propaganda too.
New rich, adrift in ocean of debt and despair.
On the morning after Budget Day, Sydney's Daily Telegraph let rip. It featured the Gray family, who, reporter Andrew Carswell fulminated, are
victims of Labor's war on middle-class welfare, mercilessly assaulted by yesterday's federal budget.
Colourful language in a news story is one thing, but facts are another. And the telly supplied the facts and figures. We got a detailed breakdown of the Gray family budget, followed by
how much extra per year the budget will cost them.
And included in the list were these figures.
Power, carbon tax, $300. Food, carbon tax, $390. Petrol, carbon tax, $150.
Carbon tax? But we don't know what the carbon price will be, so how can the telly possibly calculate what it will cost the Gray family? And in any case, no carbon tax will be levied until July 2012, so even if the figures are right, they won't apply this year. But are they right? Where do they come from? We thought we'd take a closer look. First, what about
food, carbon tax, $390.
That's 5% more than the Greys paid for food this year. Yet back last month, Treasury estimates of the impact of a carbon price were released under FOI. According to them, a $30 a tonne carbon price would increase the average family's food bill by less than 1%. So we asked Andrew Carswell where his figure came from. He told us the Australian Food and Grocery Council.
Groceries to rise 5%.
Industry warns tax will hit your food bill.
As the Melbourne Herald Sun reported last month,
the Australian Food and Grocery Council says if the price on carbon is $26 a tonne, costs would rise by 3 to 5%, much higher than government estimates of 1%.
Well, the council is the food makers' lobby group, hardly an impartial source. But where did it get its figures? We asked, but it said its modelling was confidential. Back in 2009, when the same lobby group was predicting the same price increases as a result of the Rudd government's emissions trading scheme, the council wouldn't tell the Sydney Morning Herald either.
It refused, however, to release the modelling on which it says its claims are based.
So that 5% should be treated as a dubious figure. But once it's out there, it's guaranteed to muddy the waters. Here's Jason Morrison on Sydney's 2UE.
Well, look, I've seen the Treasury modelling that was leaked out, and, the stuff that was leaked out, I think was leaked out for a purpose, and even that was forecasting increase on the price of food of about 5%.
You see, a Treasury figure of 1% has become 5% in Jason's mind, probably because that lobby group figure is floating in the ether. And in the Daily Telegraph, of course. So what about this figure?
Power, carbon tax, $300.
Andrew Carswell told us he got that figure from power company True Energy. And they told us they got it from the New South Wales
Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal. Electricity Final Report, March 2010.
In Table 1.5 of that report we find
energy cost increases due to CPRS.
That's the Rudd government's carbon pollution reduction scheme, not the Gillard government's carbon price. 3 different companies came up with 3 different estimates for how much an average family's power bill will increase, all close to $300. Energy Australia, for example, estimates
$290.
Not this year, mind you, but cumulatively by
2012-13.
In February, that $300 a year figure was used in a report by the Australian Industry Group.
Energy shock, confronting higher prices.
And that was picked up by Tony Abbott. He blogged in the telly about
the carbon tax's impact on power bills, which the Australian Industry Group this week predicted would go up $300 a year, thanks to carbon pricing alone.
Well, fair enough, you might think. The IPART is a respectable source. Except that when we asked the tribunal if that estimate still stands, it pointed us to this document.
Electricity Draft Report, April 2011.
On page 11, we find this.
How will prices change on the 1st of July 2012? The federal government has announced that it will introduce a carbon price on this date, but has not set the level of the carbon price. Therefore, we have not included any carbon price in our estimates for 2012-13.
So the body that first put that $300 a year estimate into circulation now says it simply doesn't know what the increase will be. And nor, for all that the figures are there in black and white, does the Daily Telegraph. We happen to have picked on the telly, but the truth is, whenever you see figures and statistics in the media, it's wise to be wary, especially when no one tells you where they come from.